Before starting the presentation of the MegApproval solution, it is important to explain the exchange of information between your accounting and the approval system. The invoices are automatically encoded at the level of the accounting application. Sage Cloud Daymat and ClearFacts, products of the Isabel Group, and Bob Daymat are solutions offering you this possibility. If you need more information on one of those products, do not hesitate to contact us. A whole series of information found in the accounting system will be injected into the MegApproval. For example, suppliers, analytical codes, amounts, etc. As soon as the invoices are encoded in the accounting system, they will be sent to the MegApproval web-based platform. These invoices will be immediately blocked for payment. Once injected into the MegApproval, the approval flows are started. An approval flow is linked to an invoice. When the invoice is approved, the payment of this invoice will then be released in the accounting. It is at the level of the accounting application that the user can make the payment.
The MegApproval main menu is designed as a dashboard. A dashboard giving you an overview of the total number of the documents per category. The total buttons indicating the total of all the documents in the different categories. Those categories are the documents to be approved, the completely approved, the rejected, the redirected to, and finally the to be reviewed documents.
If no flow has been defined for invoices, those invoices will be placed in this category. If you work with purchase orders, we do not allow the creation of a purchase order without linking it to a flow. This button is only available to accountants. In practice, this is where you find invoices that have been given an analytical code in the accounting application and for which no flow has been defined yet in the MegApproval application. Therefore, a flow must first be defined before an approval flow can be started. Let us start by clicking on the Total button, to have an overview of the status of all the documents available in the system. By clicking on the PDF icon, the document will be displayed. A CSV file export of the list of invoices can be generated by clicking on that CSV icon. On this screen you will find additional information from the accounting system such as the journal, year, supplier, amount, etc. The people who still must approve, and the people who have already approved will also be displayed.
Let us click on the To Be Approved button.
In this screen, the approver can approve a document. A MegApproval user doesn't need to have access to the accounting software. Even without having an accounting access, relevant information coming from the accounting application will be displayed. He will of course also have access to the scans of the documents. The system is designed to handle different types of documents such as invoices, purchase orders, etc. The administrator and the accountant can see all the documents. If included in the flow, a simple approver will only see his own documents. You can approve, reject, link an attachment, give a comment, add a reviewer or redirect.
The following button I would like to show you is the Completely Approved button.
Here you can have an overview of all the documents that are completely approved. You will notice that the buttons and the information displayed is similar to the ones in the previous menus.
The next button is the Rejected button. Let's have a look.
When an approver wants to reject a document, he will be obliged to introduce a small comment to justify the rejection. In case of an invoice, an email is immediately sent to the generic email address of the accounting department. If you work with purchase orders, An email is immediately sent to the creator of the purchase order so that he can adjust it if necessary.
What does the redirect means?
Here an approver can find the invoices and/or purchase orders that, for one reason or another, were returned to him by a subsequent approver in the process. Once he sees these documents again in his list, he will have to approve them again.
Let us now click on the To Be Reviewed button.
As from the second approver in a flow, the approver can send the invoice or purchase order back to the previous step in the approval flow, so the approver can ask the previous approver to reapprove. The flow doesn't change in this case. If an invoice or purchase order is in the wrong flow, the approver should reject it. A user with the accountant role can then put the invoice in another flow using the reinject function. For a purchase order, the creator can then modify the purchase order.
And the last button we have in our dashboard is the To Be Identified button.
If an invoice has been retrieved from the accounting system in MegApproval, and this invoice has not been linked to a flow yet, the invoice will arrive in this category. It is then necessary to link the invoice to a flow to start the approval flow for this document. The application is multi-document, so let us take two types of documents, namely the invoices and the purchase orders, into consideration. Let us start with the invoices. Here once again you will have an overview of all the invoices in the system. You will remark that at the right side of the screen you have an indication whether a document has been approved or rejected. An interesting feature is that you have the possibility to limit the invoices to the ones you really want to see on screen. You can do so by using different filters.
The purchase orders are a second type of documents we would like to show you today. The way of working we used for the invoices will also be applicated here. The information at the right-hand side is a little bit different. A blue bullet in the draft colon indicates that this purchase order has not been transmitted to the first reviewer in the flow and that he can modify the purchase order. In the closed colon, you can see whether a purchase order was closed or not. A closed purchase order allows the budgets to be released in the reporting. Here, too, the selection criteria can be used to reduce a large list to one containing only the items the user wants to see.
Here you can create the supplier, the analytical data and the articles that come from your accounting software. You must also link a flow to your purchase order. After approval, a PDF with the order form is created and an email is sent to the creator of the purchase order. The purchase order is then synchronized with your accounting software so that it can be converted into an invoice. This main menu item allows you to display a list of all the approvers. The option at the top of the screen allows you to change the list presentation to a business card presentation. When you select a user, you have access to their profile. A range of information is automatically retrieved from the Active Directory or the Azure Active Directory. For security reasons, this data cannot be modified or deleted. Some information can be modified, such as the telephone number. As time goes by, we will add additional information. You can activate or deactivate an approver. There is an option to replace an approver with another approver when they leave the company. This replacement will be done in all flows where the departing approver appears. During his absence, an approver can designate a delegate. He or she can also specify a period during which he/she will be absent from the office. The administrator also has access to this option. As MegApproval is a multi-file solution, We give you the possibility to indicate the different companies that should be taken into account by MegApproval. This menu item will also allow you to indicate the role of the different approvers. We find there the role of administrator, accountant, purchase order approver and the role of simple approvers.
A next item in our main menu is user groups. After having created a user group, you can create a flow linked to a group. A document will then be approved from the moment that one of the approvers within the group approved the document. Thus, you could create a group for management, department heads, project managers, human resources, etc.
By clicking on the approval flow in the main menu, you are now ready to create your approval flows. Now that we created the users, the user groups and the triggers, we can now link all that to our approvers. As already mentioned before, we offer you several triggers such as suppliers, analytical sections, general ledger accounts, and amounts. The combination of the triggers and the users is called the approval flow.
Some highlights to remember. MegApproval is a secured web-based approval application. Is multi-document, multi-company, multi-language, multi-country, multi-user, multi-trigger. Has a connector with accounting applications. Has an attractive and an intuitive user interface and user experience. Is easy to configure. And is also rich in standard features. So, we believe MegApproval gives value for your money.